Okay, today we are matching Midwinter Nights Dram. This is Act 11. The scene doesn't matter. A limited engagement. It is a really tasty rye whiskey, but I'm going to roll the intro and then I'm going to let you know what you can blend together with off-the-shelf whiskeys and something else to get that. Okay, so this is not that high of proof, it's 98.6 proof. Blend of straight rye whiskeys finished in port barrels. So I believe what it is High West Rendezvous rye that they finish in port wine barrels. It's bottled obviously a little bit higher proof than your standard Rendezvous rye. But this one, believe it or not, is actually pretty easy to match. I tried at first using only whiskeys I had available to me, and they all missed something. I could not get it close. I mean, I could get it somewhat close, but they were just off. So I decided to try something else. It worked amazingly. Like, you won't be able to tell the difference between this Midwinter Nights Dram and these three blends, okay? And I'll have a fourth one you can just try that I think is even a little bit better than that. So what we're going to start with is Sagamore Spirit Cask Strength Rye. This thing is 112.2 proof, and it is a blend, it is right now at least, a blend of Sagamore Spirits rye whiskey and MGP rye whiskey, which Midwinter Nights Dram, anything from High West, it's a blend of their rye and MGP's rye. So we're going to take 2 parts of the Sagamore Spirit, and we're going to, the first one I think that was better than Midwinter Nights Dram, and I don't know how easy it's going to be for you to get this. This is the High West Double Rye. It is finished in Ruby Port barrels for a year and a month. This thing is almost 101 proof. I was not that impressed with it on its own, but if you blend 2 parts of Sagamore Spirit Cask Strength to 1 part of this, you get very close to that, but we got to add something. We're going to add this tawny port. Now I believe this is aged in a mixture of tawny and ruby port barrels. I just had this tawny port, so that's what I used. But what you do with the blend is if you do 2 parts Sagamore, 1 part of this High West, then what you're going to do, you're going to say 90% of your final blend is the blend of these two, and 10% of your final blend is this port wine. So, let's just say you want to end up with 100 milliliters, right? Well, 90 milliliters would be these two, so you'd have 60 milliliters of Sagamore Spirit, 30 milliliters of this High West, and only 10 milliliters of this tawny port. Or if you wanted to end up with, a 750 milliliter bottle, you'd take 90% of that, which would get you down to what, 675 milliliters. So, okay, quick math. See, 675 divided by 3, so you'd be 225. So you'd be 450 milliliters of Sagamore Spirit, 225 milliliters of the Rendezvous, and 75 milliliters of this tawny port. All right, so whatever the blend of whiskey is, it will make up 90% of the final blend. This port will make up 10% of the final blend. This is going to taste like a richer, more intense version of the Midwinter Nights Dram. It's just like a really delicious rye whiskey. It has all the good rye spices, that herbaliness, but it has like dark, rich, syrupy berry because of the port. So if you can't get this, don't fret. Not that big of a deal. because I'm sure pretty much everybody can just get regular old High West double rye. So I've got my notes just for what the proof ends up being. So the blend with this bottle ends up being 102 proof and $50 to make the blend. The blend, 2 parts Sagamore, 1 part High West double rye, and then 10% of the final blend is this tawny port. That is 98.9 proof, almost the same, $39. All right. It tastes just like High West Midwinter Nights Dram, this Act 11. What you can also do, if you want to use something a little more expensive, I'm going to put that right there. I don't have any left, but this High West Rendezvous Rye. Same thing, 2 parts Sagamore cask strength, 1 part Rendezvous Rye. 10% of your final blend is this tawny port, and you've got the same 98.9 proof, but it's $53. So you can kind of see what I'm doing. If you want to switch it up with a ruby port or do 5% ruby port, 5% tawny port, just mix it up. It's gonna taste like Midwinter Nights Dram. This is only the second one I've had. I think the first one I had was maybe Act 8 or 9. Of course, I'm just going off memory, but they're different. You know, this Act 11, so they're all going to obviously vary a little bit, but you can blend these whiskeys and some port. It works wonderfully. I mean, it tastes identical. This blend right here, to me, tastes identical to Midwinter Night Dram. So give it a shot. I'm pretty sure most people can get these 2 rye whiskeys, and you can get port wine anywhere. This one is like 38 proof. So give it a shot, all right? You're not going to be disappointed. If there's anyone that has a bottle of Midwinter Night Dram, like this Act 11, or I think the Act 12 has come out already, compare it. Do the blend and compare it and let me know. You're going to be surprised. You don't need to spend $130, $150, you know, unless you want to. Okay, thank you for listening in, and stay tuned for the next blends I have to beat allocated whiskeys. We got some good ones coming up. All right.